Good morning, Malcolm. Got your
Morning,
coffee?
John. Yes,
Okay.
good.
Lockdown goes on. The pandemic proceeds. Question we're looking at this morning is handling the pastorate amid tricky times. Handling the pastorate alone. That's the point. When you're on your own in it. That's the matter. And many men are perhaps pastors in small churches, no elders. And sometimes, even in small churches, lots of pastoral problems come at once. Suddenly, it all seems to be kind of overwhelming. And especially during lockdown, that might feel even more of a burden. So how do we handle that? So that's what we're going to be thinking about today. I'm sure we've both had times when we felt overwhelmed. Help.
Yes.
in the
Well,
past.
what are your first thoughts?
My first thought is this: realize you can't fix everything. That's the first thing. In fact, actually, of course, we can't fix anything. Without the Lord's help, we can't do anything. So the first thing I want to say is spending time in prayer. Don't let that go, even when things are overwhelming. And just this morning, I was thinking, that kind of fits very much, doesn't it, with David at Ziklag. Everything's gone wrong. They've been raided. The men are grumbling against him, and they're thinking of stoning him. But David found strength in the Lord his God. So I think the first thing is realize you can't fix everything, and therefore spend time with the Lord, spend time maintaining your relationship with him. So that's thought number one. Now, over to you.
Yeah, well, those are really good things to remind ourselves of. You need to pace yourself and measure your day in a sort of balanced way. One of my concerns is that we can easily spend almost our whole life online, and I think you've got to have some variety. That's really important. Otherwise, you'll become sort of numb almost, or you'll begin to lose your other skills. So that's really important. I think might come back to that a little bit later, but it really struck me that there was life before the internet. There was life before the tablet and the iPad, wasn't there?
Indeed, yeah.
And so even when you're not doing ministry, you have to be careful that you're not just getting drawn into what I would call technology.
So you need to kind of protect your boundaries, really, even from technology.
Yeah, I think so.
When you work hard, but then, when you've got time for the family and really, protect that. So that's, yeah.
You've got to learn to chill out in the right way. It's not laziness to have some time out.
And then my next thought was that with a lot of problems all at the same time, it's best to spend time little and often in the week with all the different people in trouble, rather than trying to fix one thing at a time and other people feel that they've just kind of been put down the queue and they don't really matter. So, phone calls, texts, just to show people that you are remembering them, and obviously, hopefully you are bringing them to the Lord in prayer as well. They really matter. And I would say never spend more than an hour with people when you do either have a Zoom call or actually be able to socially distance, visit them. If you give, it gives you an hour, gives you time to listen and say a few things perhaps, but my own experience is that after the first hour, it just becomes gabble, unproductive. We're just going on. So sometimes it's helpful for people, but saying, I'll phone you. We'll Zoom together between 3 and 4. So you've got a kind of an end point, that kind of thing. So that's the one thing I would say when there's a lot of things going on at the same time. Different people, they need to know they all matter. So little and often. So that's my third one.
Yeah, I would add to that that there is a place for the doorstep visit, even in sort of semi-lockdown. I did one or two this week, and just a face-to-face contact at distance, obviously, is really helpful, because I think it just reminds you that you're dealing with people in a very tangible way.
That's right.
And that's safe, that's sensible.
That's good. And then, of course, in the midst of your feeling overwhelmed, you might want to phone a friend. I don't know what you want to say about that.
Yeah, I think phoning a friend and being cultivating and enjoying your friendships with other pastors, not just pastors, they're good friends who you've known maybe for many years, who really know you, and you can relax with them on, for a few minutes. It really makes a difference. Just do some other things other than our work. As I said before, we don't have to burn ourselves out. You do need to keep the human side of life going.
Yeah. And can you bounce your problems off them, off those guys?
Yeah, I think you can. If you know that they're spiritual men who you keep their confidences, you can share. You've got to be able to do that. Prayer is the primary, kind of port of call in a sense. But it's really important to have that human contact, isn't it?
Probably not naming names when you kind of.
No. You don't have to hang out all the dirty washing and with the name tags showing.
They might have a bit more. They might have a bit more wisdom. Yeah. Was there something else you wanted to say at this point?
Well, no. Well, I did say that earlier on. I'd come back to the idea of how to relax physically as well. If you've got a bike, get it going. If you just like walking, do that. And if you haven't got a dog, you could get one. There's loads of them, apparently. People bought a load of them in lockdown, and there's loads going on the... So if you want to adopt a dog. But I know that one or two guys really they have a dog. I'm not saying get one really, necessarily, but they just find it another release from the sort of grind and the routines that we've got ourselves into. We're not working less, strangely, but we're working so differently.
So a dog isn't just for lockdown.
No, very good.
And
go on. Yeah. No, you're finished now.
And my last thing, of course, is that obviously you've still got to keep the preaching going. Yeah. And sometimes it's, when there's overwhelming pressure on you, perhaps you're going to have to pull out an old sermon series and say to the congregation, look, things are tough at the moment. We're just going to go through this that I did 7 years ago or something. That might be, or something else that you might be able to find, that's easy to put together from, I don't know, Matthew Henry or something. Actually, I think we're going to put a few kind of simple Bible studies up on the website at Pastors Academy. Again, that might be helpful for men. Or the classic one, of course, is Charles Simeon's skeleton sermons. Which he meant for, here are the headings, and here you're a young guy, and you just use the headings and fill out as you think best. And that might be helpful to you, just to take the pressure off a bit, as you've got such a big burden.
One of the best books I ever saw, and I'm not even sure if I've still got it, I might have given it away, and I'm regretting it if I did, was Charles Hodge Princeton sermons, but they were just the outlines. Then they were really good because they were really meaty, but just well structured. Things like that could be interesting, just inspiring. It was great.
That's really helpful. I didn't know about that. Time to stop. Okay. Great to see you. God bless. Bye bye.